Hey guys, it is Melissa and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Melissa Ellen and I do true crime videos. So here's the deal, guys. I want to raise awareness on missing persons and try to help with unsolved cases. But obviously we talk about more than that. So today we are going to talk about, let's call it a story. Let me explain what I mean, okay? We have a case of a 21-year-old girl by the name of Elisa Lam who came from Canada to California for vacation, and she was found dead inside of a water tank on top of the Cecil hotel. Okay, truly sad. So to her family and to friends and things like that, I mean, no disrespect, this is so sad. And at the end of the day, that is what happened. That is what police have determined happened, and it seems to be that's what the family has settled and rested with. But there's a whole theory about what really happened and what's really gone on, and it's so interesting, and I just keep coming back to it that I can't not talk about it. I first saw this case when it was in the media and she was missing because they put out a video shortly after she went missing, which I'm going to share with you guys. I just want to tell you how I come across these cases if you're interested. And I remember seeing that and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then they started talking how she looked like she was possessed, and I kind of just I exited out of it because, in case you guys don't know, I don't really understand all of that. So it's very intriguing to me, but I don't know what I believe in. So I immediately, when I hear that, I exit out. And then I saw it was Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson here on YouTube is a big YouTuber. So I was watching one of his videos, and he does like conspiracy theories, which has kind of always got me kind of looking further because he does it from a playful point of view. So I don't feel like overwhelmed, because some of those videos you try to like watch paranormal stuff and it's like, and then it looks so fake and stupid that you're just like, I don't believe it. Anyways, so I was watching his video and I was like, okay, that one does make me kind of go, what the hell is going on? So I'll make sure, by the way, everything I talk about, because I used so many references for this video, I will link everything down below for you guys so that you guys can look into it as well. So that's what made me decide to do this video, because I would like to do more videos like this for you guys. My dog is outside the back window. I forgot where it was. Anyways, my point is after watching Shane Dawson's videos, it actually kind of inspires me to consider talking about stuff like this, but from a completely like newbie at it. Like, I don't quite understand that there's really an entire realm of people who really believe that like these paranormal activities happen. And so that's why I say case, which is the unfortunate, untimely death of Elisa. And then we have the story, which is like everything else that everyone is conspiring about. So please understand where I'm coming from when I say that I'm trying to do this in a way that is respectful. You see my hands start moving when I get nervous. Like, I'm like, should I do that? Should I even laugh when there's like, but the story side of it does have some funny points. So just roll with me. All right, so guys, thank you so much for being here. Please make sure you click the subscribe button. Please make sure. I got worse. Please make sure. So please make sure you guys hit the subscribe button down below, and I will be back with more videos. So thank you guys again, and let's jump right into the video. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background that I could find on Elisa Lam. Okay, that was the hard part. Is first of all, she is from Canada. She didn't have a lot of social media presence, so there wasn't a lot of photos, and it doesn't seem like a lot have come out. So there are going to be very limited photos of her, and I will include everything that I possibly can. Now, this is 2013, so social media was completely hopping and going. So from what could be found online about her, she had a Tumblr, she had an Instagram, and she had a Twitter. And on those, she did post pretty average things. There was nothing on there that she posted that was extremely outrageous in any way of thinking, but a lot of her posts seemed to be kind of not superficial. Superficial, I mean, you were stuck up. Vague. Like, it could almost have been anyone's profile. They seem to be accurate of time, like as to what was happening with someone. Okay, for example, there were a lot of photos of like coffee cups, which is like something like I know I've posted, like, hey, here's my morning coffee. And like photos pointing down at the ground of her shoes. Okay, I've done this before too. So but there wasn't photos of her. And a lot of what she posted showed that she was like a thinker, she was a bright girl, she was into like the Colbert Report, things like that. And I saw that from other people that were talking about that. So it kind of gives you an idea of the type of person she was. So I'm guessing she was a little more reserved about actual posting photos of herself. There's like a photo of her in a dressing room, but you can't see her face. The way I'm saying this kind of leans into what we talk about later. There's a lot of people who believe that this is like she's fake, like she doesn't really exist. And so these profiles like try to lend to that. But if you go back and read them, they just seem like a young girl who wasn't like a really involved poster. And a lot of the people she engaged with on the accounts were like kind of random accounts. Like they don't seem to have a lot of following. They didn't seem to be very personal. So I'm getting more of a, she had these profiles and she would like share stuff, but she wasn't really like involved. Like that wasn't her friends. And she was traveling by herself. So maybe she just didn't have a big group of friends. She was kind of a stuck to herself. So I'll post what I can find of these accounts to kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about, because it's hard to explain. It's just more of a feel. Like when you ever gain like an account, like somebody sends you a request to follow them and you go to look at it and the first thing you're like, oh, I don't know them. But then you're like, oh, well, let me just see, like maybe there's someone I want to know or they want to know me for a reason. And you just kind of scroll through their page and you're like, oh, okay, well, it's really a person. But like, where's their dog? Where's their car? Where's their house? Where's their best friend? Where's their mom? Like you kind of like, you're like, yeah, I don't really know. Like I don't know you. Okay, so that's the kind of person that she seemed to be. Now, she was 21 years old, and she was a student in Vancouver in Canada. Now, she's Cantonese descent, and I'm going to put up her name for you. I don't want to mess it up of her actual full name. And she went by Elisa Lam. So here's what I could figure out. Elisa decided to come to California to have a vacation to tour the area. Now, she arrived in San Diego, California, and then she traveled to LA. San Diego to LA. Ooh. I don't know. I'm about 5 hours from San Diego and LA is about 2 hours. So I'm guessing the actual trip from San Diego to LA is like 3 hours. And she made the trip to LA and she ended up staying at the Cecil Hotel. There's a little bit of confusion about the fact that she arrived in San Diego on the 26th and then she supposedly stayed for a while, but then she got checked into the Cecil and then she was last seen on January 31st. So this was all a very quick time frame. But what we do know for sure is that she checked into the Cecil Hotel and then she was last seen on the evening of January 31st. So she had been in the Cecil Hotel just a couple of days. Now I'll give you a very short history on the Cecil Hotel. It was built in 1927. I believe it has 15 floors. And it has gained a serious reputation for being the hotel of suicide and deaths. Richard Ramirez stayed there between 1984 and 1985. And if you are not familiar with who Richard Ramirez is, he is the infamous Night Stalker. He murdered a ton of people. It is believed that during his stay there was when he murdered 13 people. There were also, and I'll just put a news article link if you really want to go into the history of the hotel. There were suicides. There was a woman who didn't know she was pregnant and gave birth and then thought the baby was dead, so she threw it out a window. Like, seriously sad stuff. There was a guy walking down the street and had a body fall on him because, yeah, it's like really weird when you look at the history of this hotel and the amount of people that have committed suicide or been murdered there. It's kind of eerie. Ignore the little yapper in the background. Nobody's going to pay attention. Is that the most distracting shit you've ever seen in your life? Okay, so here's what happened. So Elisa is staying at the Cecil Hotel. She had been in contact with her family every single day. On January 31st is the last time they had contact with her. And on February 1st of 2013, she was supposed to check out of the Cecil Hotel and she did not. On February 6th of 2013, they actually had a press conference and her family did come from Vancouver to be there for this press conference. And I believe it was the 14th of February, they released the surveillance video. So this is the big thing that a lot of people have probably seen, and you might not know that it's in reference to this case. There is a video, and I'm going to put it up for you now. So in this video, you can see that Elisa, She enters into the elevator, and she enters in a manner that's kind of slow, and then she proceeds to push all of the buttons. Now, I'm going to say this now. Below, I'm going to link a link for you of a gentleman here on YouTube who went through and dissected this video. A lot of people feel that this video that was released to the public has been slowed down. It is very hard to tell whether or not it has been sped up or slowed down, because if you'll notice on the left-hand side down at the bottom that the timestamp is very blurry. This has not been done by myself, and this has not been done by anyone who uploaded it to YouTube. This is actually how the video was released. Now, there's several different theories on why this could be, that maybe it was formatted from an old like VHS to a new DVD, because it was an older hotel. There's been all kinds of people. There's a lot of conspiracies on that as well. Those ones were a little over my head because I don't understand technology that deep, like how to that's just beyond my head, how to edit a video like that to put out for mass production. Like, I wouldn't know how to do that. So these people who have more knowledge than I do have gone in at the timestamp, because see how you can't see it, and tried to figure out what it's supposed to be. And the only thing they can figure out, two things, is number one, it really appears that speeding it up would be the only way to make that timestamp seem like it's working, because there's a number that changes every 60 seconds. So that appears to be the number. Anyways, I'll put the video for you. You can watch his video because he did it. He can have credit for it. But it really seemed like he's correct, and that this video was slowed down before it was released to public. So it could have been slowed down because they want you to catch something, but they should have said that. Or who slowed it down? Was it the police so people would feel more comfortable with the theory that she was acting erratic? Or was it somebody in the hotel trying to cover something up? There's a lot of questions about this video, but here's what you can tell in the video. She's not acting normal. Here's what you can tell from the video. She is definitely struggling with something. Something is going on. She's looking around. She's stepping in and out. You also can't confirm 100% the time frame, but from the people, also the very educated people who know what they're doing, they believe that that video was recorded on January 31st, right at the end of the 11 o'clock hour, going into midnight, turning it to February 1st, because there's some issues of when she was last seen. Some people said January 31st, some people said February 1st. So if you go with that theory, it makes sense. But again, you can't really see that time stamp, so you can't really tell. But they believe that it's that, or it's 8 o'clock in the morning, but the 8 o'clock in the morning doesn't seem to match with a lot of things. She was seen at a bookstore that day. So it really seems like that is the middle of the night. So why this young girl got up in the middle of the night is unknown. When she arrived at the Cecil Hotel, this was kind of like a hostel, and she was with roommates. So she was in this room with the roommates, and the roommates reported that she had odd behavior, that she was acting odd. And there's no information on that, what she did or what she said, but they made a request that they switch rooms, and Elisa was put in her own room. And then at midnight, she's out just in the hallways, walking in and out of the elevator. It's so strange. So the thing to know about Elisa is that she had actually been diagnosed bipolar, and she was on medication for bipolar. So 2 things are going on with her. I guess 3. We'll go 3. We'll do the real and we'll do, okay. So number 1, she's having a manic episode, and that would make complete sense. She's either her medication's just not working, she's just having a manic episode. Something is going on with her because she, for some reason, is having a manic breakdown. Number 2 was that theory that she was on some sort of drugs. Was she having an LSD trip, she got something from someone and she's tripping. I will say this now so we clear that up. Her toxicology came back clear. So she did not have drugs of any kind or alcohol or anything like that in her system. The other theory is that it's some sort of paranormal, demonic, I guess those are different. Demon, some sort of experiences going on. I'm learning all this stuff, guys. That is a huge theory because the video is so odd. It's like she's talking to someone. And when people started going back on the history of the hotel, they're like, who's she talking to? Maybe she's talking to one of them. You know what I mean? So all these people have had these experiences at this hotel. Like maybe that's what's happening. So what happened on the night that Elisa passed away is somehow she traveled up the hotel to the roof. So this is a 15-story roof. There are 4 ways to access the roof. 3 of them involve climbing out of a window with a fire escape, climbing up the fire escape, and then onto the roof. I was trying to look up and see like how many flights you'd have to climb for each fire escape because I was kind of curious. Like, I mean, I get it if she went to the 15th floor and then went out that fire escape, like nobody would see her maybe, but like that seems odd to me because the fire escapes are usually quite a few stories. So she would have had to have gone out one of those 3 windows, up one of those 3 fire escapes, or she went up to the roof door. There's a door to get up to it, but that door is locked and has an alarm on it. So somehow she got through the lock and did not set off the alarm and went up onto the roof. That's all weird because it just doesn't make a lot of sense. How did she get up to the roof and why? So apparently she goes up onto the roof. She then climbs up. So you get up to the roof and it's a big, huge open surface. And there are 4 massive water tanks. She then climbs up onto the platform, which is quite a few feet up. She then climbs up a 10-foot ladder of one of the water tanks. She then opens a 20-foot, say it wrong every time, a 20-pound hatch cover of the water tank, then climbs into the water tank, removes her clothing, and then shuts the 20-pound water tank hatchet lid over herself. So you're like I am right now, right? You're like, hold on. There's this weird video of this girl in this hotel with this weird history, and she somehow gets up to the roof. Nobody notices, gets in, nobody notices. Now, she had been reported missing. Police had searched the hotel. They had searched the roof. They looked, they didn't see anything. Now, several days later, on February 19th, actually, the maintenance worker of the hotel who had been helping police, they had looked in the rooms and everything, had gotten a lot of reports from the guests that there was an issue with the water pressure. They said that the water flow wasn't what it should be, and they were having a lot of complaints. There was even a guest that said that the water looked dark and that at times it didn't taste right either. That is horrible. Like, to anybody that had stayed at the hotel at that time and you know that you had drank the water, how do you get over that? I don't even know how I would even function the rest of my life knowing that had happened. Like, and that's just so sad. To talk on the bipolar talk, because mental health is something I'm very passionate about. It's not something that I feel that I have enough actual education to really share a lot, but it's something I definitely care very much about, and I know that in what I deal with in true crime and missing people, that it is so much more prevalent than people realize. There was a video here on YouTube by I think the channel name was Med Bros, and they did this really great explanation of bipolar. And I guess he's a medical student. And I thought that was really interesting for anyone that might not really understand how these behaviors could be more of a bipolar manic episode than a paranormal activity. Now that I've given you the case, I want to talk about the story. I do. But I want to make sure that it's separate from really talking about Elisa, because I don't want to disrespect her or her family. May she rest in peace. That's a horrible thing that has happened. And by all accounts, it honestly does appear that it really is just one of those horrible accidents. The autopsy found nothing toxicology related, as we talked about, and it also found no trauma to her body. There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing to point to anything other than she climbed in there herself, probably in a manic state, probably confused on where she was, and probably just thought she was safer there. I'm going to try to edit my dog out. Sorry. Okay. So let's talk about this. So the first one that literally I was like, that's weird. But I only think it's weird. I don't know. In 2013, there was an epidemic of tuberculosis going on in the Skid Row area. Skid Row is an area of LA right near the Cecil Hotel. It is a horrible area of town, actually. My son went there last summer or the summer before for a mission trip to help feed the homeless. And like I tried to prepare him, but his 15-year-old self, this was 2 years ago, his 15-year-old self was like, Mom, wow, that's a whole nother world. Yeah, it's not a good area. So Skid Row of LA had a tuberculosis epidemic. I read on one site that said there were over 4,500 people in that area, but I don't know if they meant that area or the whole nation. But anyways, apparently it was a huge problem. In 2009, so just a couple years prior, there was a product, a test kit that was on the market to test for tuberculosis. So now we're getting into this like vaccinations, pharmaceutical world, like this whole like drama topic. And these test kits were apparently for urine to test for TB. And apparently they weren't performing well. They weren't meeting the testing standard. It was like 56% when he needed to be 80% effective rate. Like the test needs to perform. And it wasn't. So apparently this was a big problem. So now you have a pharmaceutical company, so this test company that's trying to get their test out and it's not performing. And so there's like this thing going on, and then now this epidemic starts, and you're wondering, why the hell are you telling me this? That test name was Lam Elisa. Did you get that? Elisa Lam, Lam Elisa, spelled exactly the same way. What? It was just like, it's just this random thing that you're like, so the theory, just follow me on this one. The theory is that the pharmaceutical company or the test company, I think they'd still be called a pharmaceutical company, even though it's just a test. Anyways, whatever. This company is putting out this Lam Elisa test. It's not performing well. So the theory is that they like flooded the market with tuberculosis so that they could get their test out, maybe? That was definitely weird that was going on, and then that was her name. A lot of people really got all over it. They were worried about the water. There was a whole thing that was going on with that. There was also some questions about how she got into the tank. There are photos, which I'll include, I'm sure I can include it, of the scene, and there's firemen, and they are cutting off the top. And so people were like, why are they cutting the top off? If she was able to climb in, then she should climb out. But I think that what that was is that they just made the opening bigger. Because just because it was big enough for her to climb in and get out easily doesn't mean it was big enough for CSI to extract the body and the belonging without tampering it in any way. They want more space to work with. But there were people that were like, that was staged, that's not real, they're not real firemen, that there was actually like news reporters there and it was all just actors. I'll link that for you as well. That also led into, so how we were talking about her social media profiles, how they seemed slightly vague, slightly non-personal. They felt that there's like this big theory that she's not a real person, that she doesn't exist, that she's some sort of a CIA agent, or even bigger, that this is all like some sort of social media ploy, like the whole thing is a complete hoax. It never happened. It never happened. She never existed, and there was never a death, and it never happened. And that it was all just this big, huge ploy to see if you could fake an entire news story to the news and how far it would go. I don't even go for that. And I obviously believe she's a real person. I will tell you that the only proof that I have personally found to show that she is a real person with a real family is that her family did sue the Cecil Hotel. Now, that case was dismissed, but they did come forward. They did sue. There is complete legal documents involving her timeline. There's receipts. There's hotel stays. everything about her has been documented. So I'm going to excuse all that. But it was interesting. I mean, like, it is kind of intriguing. And I do think we as people need to keep our brains bigger. I know for a very long time, I dismissed a lot of information. And I'm finding that a lot of that information that I dismissed, although I do not believe it, it opens my brain to think bigger. And it gives me more ideas of what could possibly happen. I was going to head over to the Cecil Hotel tomorrow, and I was just going to take you guys with me and add that on. But I already knew this, but I didn't know how much it had changed. But the Cecil Hotel has been it's been changed. They've moved, part of it is like buildings you can rent out. They've renamed it. It's now called Stay on Main Street. It's not even the same anything. And to be honest, I don't know. I saw that another YouTuber went there not too long ago. And just that visual, the fact that you can see the water tanks up on the roof from the street, like, no, my heart, I can't take it. So there were two really specific, like, main media things that happened that drew to this case. In 2005, there was a remake of a 2002 Japanese film called Dark Waters, and I believe it starred Jennifer Connelly. And it was about an apartment with like water, and it was dark and murky, and it was a whole creepy thriller, okay? That kind of, people felt like this that happened in 2013 with the water, they felt like it was very similar to this film. There was also an American Horror Story episode that came out that was about this case, and it kind of got people looking at the hotel again. There's a bunch of articles about people going there and trying to stay, but everything I have found says that room that she stayed in is not allowed. Nobody's going there to stay there. They don't seem to want to play on the haunted Cecil Hotel. They kind of want to keep away from that. So that room is blocked off. They don't want a lot of interest in regards to it. And they try to keep a low profile and just try to do with their new image. So that is the story of the Cecil Hotel and the case of... Was that necessary? So that was the story of the Cecil Hotel and the case of Elisa Lam. What do I think happened to her? I 99% believe that she unfortunately had a manic breakdown and caused her to put herself in a really horrible situation. But that being said, I'm 100% open to believe that something else happened and that it could have been covered up, because this world, I'm learning so much, and I think all of us are, that things like this happen, and it's a sad situation. So I hope that if there's any chance that something else happened to Elisa, that it comes out. There's a lot of groups out there that are dedicated to still finding justice for her. So I think that's wonderful. And if you have a passion for that and you think that something happened to somebody and you want to help, then I'm all for it. I'll link that down for you guys as well. So thank you guys again from the bottom of my heart. Please make sure you guys leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. What have you heard? What did I miss? What other crazy theories are out there? And if I made a mistake, I apologize. Just let me know. I honestly just wanted to share this with you guys. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Do me a favor, hug your babies, hug your loves. Life is literally freaking precious. So I love you all and have a wonderful day. See you. Bye-bye.